Okay, hi everyone. My name is Safira. I am from the ClassF and I want to explain about one of the journal related to the ELT context, English language teaching context from South Korean, under title English as International Language Revisited Implication and South Korean ELT context that created by Rahman and Saputra 2020. Okay. Next, the background of study. First of all, Holiday 2020 say that as international language, English currently have been a part of every kind of discussions in the world: science, social and culture, political, economic, and health, and many others. It explained that 1.3 billion of people that use English as the part of their communications, and also it known and it makes English as their part of global communications. And one of the country that use English is South Korean. South Korean is the implementation of English at South Korean introduced start from 1945 and after the World War II. It is because the intimidations relationships between South Korean and the US. It is not a surprise because as we have known together, US is one of the countries that use English as their first language, right? And also South Koreans also included as expanding circle country. If you guys don't know, in ELT context, there are 3 circle country based on their languages. The first, inner circle country, outer circle country, and expanding circle country. Expanding circle, South Korea is included into expanding circle country, with China and Japan that refers to English as their foreign language. So since that, South Korean began to develop and evaluate their strategies in their English language teaching context. Those are the explanations about the background of study and short literature review. And next, I want to explain about what are we talking about in the journal. The first is the curriculum evolutions in ELT context in South Korean, and also the second is about the attitudes toward non-native and a native English teacher in South Korean, and the last is about the interconnectedness complexity between English language and their national language as you know Korean, that related with their 21st century skills, English concept toward English skills, English language skills. Okay, here we come about the discussion of study. English language become a very top priority in South Korean educations, as we have known together, and as what I have explained before, that English language and South Korean have really a good relationships with the US. So since 190 in the early of that year, there are so many South Korean students already getting some change to have some more educational background and study in US, and after that they back to their country and got very successful in that country. It make the social assumptions, their social assumptions that being studying in US or being learning in English have a very possibilities to create more opportunities in the future career. So that's why they set a very high learning English since their secondary schools. And also it is making the society more concerned about the language education system and continue their educations in South Korean, either in South Korean or in the US. And also you know that South Korean, one of those country that becoming the from the poorest to the wealthiest. The changing phenomena from the being the poorest and the wealthiest country in Asia from the rapid financial and international economy that make South Korean is very concerned about the English language teachings strategies to make all the students in Korean know better about English. So that's why English has become one of the prominent subjects from the secondary school until the university students to have some strategies in English language context. So yeah, next is about the evolution's curriculum background of South Korean. There are 7 curriculum evolution along South Korean history that used by the students and the teachers since early 1945. The first curriculum, they use the grammar translations method. As we have known, the grammar translation method, that the method used by them in translating some sentences toward communications, and very pay attention to the grammar rules. And after a long of journey or a long of process using the grammar translations method, the education of South Korean changed into the audio-lingual method that attempt to develop students to imitating what the teacher said or what the teachers play from the audio. And next, the third curriculum and the fourth curriculum actually kind of same. It's kind of similar curriculum that they use. It's about the audio-lingual and the standard and the structural situational method, which emphasize on the meaningful dialogue on their daily communications. And it can improve the speaking skill actually, but some of the teachers are not very trained in the speaking skill, so that's why the South Korean education think that those kind of strategies are not really improved a lot. And the next is about the structural situational approach. Actually, this kind of curriculum have been very create a positive effect to the system. It's because the fifth curriculum is about they are studying about their structural situational, they are studying about one of the sentence and how to structure it, and learn and talk directly to the other students. And when they realize that structural educational situational approach is no longer improved, they change into the national functional approach, that teaching at real world situations by using the interactive communications in the daily interactions. And the last curriculum that they use, that currently used until now, is what I've said before, the national functional approach, that they grow into the communicative competence between the students and the teacher. There are talk a lot in the class, and paradigm shift, that the class is more like a student center than the teacher center. So I also want to talk about a little about the towards native teachers and the non-native teachers. Somehow it's kinda different, very very different. It have like a two side. Non-native teachers are getting ignored compared to the native teachers, and also the native teachers is known as the ideal model of their teaching English language. But somehow the native teachers also may be favorable because they have a very good accuracy and productive skills toward in the class and have a better perceptions in their teachings. Other side, non-native teachers also can understanding the language occurs in cross culture understanding, and understands how their situation in learning new language, because they ever in their student situation, they ever in the students place to study about new language. Actually, this kind of very debatable topic, because some of them or some of education in South Korea are getting more like side to the native teachers than to the non-native teachers. Meanwhile, it must be same, because both of the teacher have their benefit by themselves. The native teacher have a better perception of the strategies. Meanwhile, the non-native teachers understand more about the cross-culture understanding. And last but not least is about how the student society attitudes toward the 21st century concepts in English language. There are many researchers discuss English as a language killer or a language promoter. As we have known together, many researchers in South Korean that said also language killer as English as a language killer because they're replacing their mother language to the English language. In one research, that the researcher found that the English language in Asians are more used by the non-native speaker than the native speaker. It explained much about it, and they have been using the English language in a false way. I mean, like they are not seeing any condition when they talk about the English language. So that's kind of things, or that's kind of opinion makes conclude that English called as a language killer. But how about the language promoter? The language promoter also, there are many researchers also found that this kind of study, the English as a language promoter is the first, is because it can be the ideal nations of South Korean in the upcoming future, being the language standard that can be used in every aspect: education, social, economic, and educations, and many others, health. And also there are thinking to one of quote that thinking globally but acting locally. So they have to counterbalance between the English language and their mother language in the classroom and the outside classroom. And it can attract the critical pedagogy of educations when they learn a new language in the class. And also it between that, and also they don't have to worry about they replacing the English. There are many researchers that also give opinion about the culture consistency in the South Korean. So they are not really worried about the replacing from the South Korean to English, because most of South Korean people and students are still passionate to their culture and the nation identity and citizenships. So the conclusion of the research is about the first, English language contact in South Koreans are very highly influenced by the world globalizations and the US political concept agenda. So as we have known together, they are very relied on the US concept, and since the US is very acceptable to become their mother word globalizations. And the second is about the native teachers have a better perceptions of English best strategies in learning English language. Other side, non-native teachers can help students in understanding their cross culture in and second learning strategies. And the last, there are many assumptions about the language killer and the language promoter, but the whole ideas or works depend on the strategies on ELT context and the English speaker. So it depends on the speaker. So when the speaker known how the situations, when the speaker known how they can build the communication with English, so but they constantly hold their cross-culture understanding and passions about their nations and the citizenship, I thought that we don't need to worry that English have been, or English will become the language killer at the South Korean. So that's all from me. I have explained a lot about the South Korean English language context English language context in South Korean, and I have also include all the part of the explanation journal. If you have any question, just contact me, guys, and see you in the next meeting. Thank you.